With the recent rumors of a new Paper Mario game potentially coming to the Switch this year, a lot of people have actually been speculating what Nintendo could do to make this next one a total banger. Some credible sources say that it may revisit its roots, with even Eurogamers stating that it may even surpass the 1,000-year door. Therefore, in today's video, we're going to be discussing what we want to see in a new Paper Mario game, as well as talk about why it could potentially become the best one in the series. What's going on, Jigsaw fam? JigsawFlex here, and as I mentioned before, we're going to be talking about the potential rumors of a new Paper Mario game coming 2020. I'm here today with my good friend, Bryan. What's up, Bryan?
Hello, everyone.
So, Bryan and I are pretty big fans of Paper Mario. It's one of our favorite franchises of all time. And so we are here discussing what we want Nintendo to do. And so the main points we want to deliver in this is design, gameplay, characters, and story. I feel like these points are the most important. What do you think, Bryan?
I agree, especially the gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. The gameplay kind of makes and breaks the game. I guess we'll start off with design and style. So me and you agreed that we would want to see something like Paper Mario Color Splash. I felt like that one was the best one out of the bunch.
Yeah, I agree as well. It looked the sleekest. It was the most modern. I don't think if they went back to the original style, it would look as good on the Switch. And I also think they're going to kind of keep the paper style, because they really seem to want to make that permanent in the game series.
For sure, I know there's a lot of paper references in the newer games, such as in the Color Splash game where you suck them with a straw, and then I just feel like these references to real-life arts and crafts. But the mechanic, how there's scissors and I don't know, fans, those type of weird stuff that should be left out. But the idea of it looking like Color Splash, the cardboardness, the freaking paper aspect should be there. And as well as I've written, should it be 3D or 2D, 2.5D? What do you think, Bryan? I know you discussed it could be a mixture of Super Paper Mario.
I think it'll be a mixture. I don't think it'll be purely 2D like the previous or the first two games in the series. But I also don't think they're gonna have it be an ability that it's 3D. So I think you kind of go in between based on the chapter or the level.
Right, so 2.5D, kind of maybe some nuanced references to a 3D based thing. What I do want though is to make sure they design these as a one whole world. I don't want a level-based thing anymore, level structure. I thought that broke the aspect of it being a Paper Mario game.
Yeah, I agree. I want to just be able to just explore each area, not be told where to go. I want to figure it out myself.
It's more RPG driven, basically. Something more RPG driven and not traditional Mario that we're used to. There needs to be emphasis on exploration, and I feel like that's the direction it could go. Other than that, the story in mind, I feel like the design will flow depending on the story.
Yeah. Alright, so shifting to the gameplay aspect, this is probably where it's the most important part of returning to the roots, and probably where Kirk and I would like to see the series expand the most. So Sticker Star and Color Splash really deviated away from 1,000-Year Door and 64 for the battle system, and even kind of similar to Super Paper Mario, it was still more different than that. So we want to see it kind of go back to the turn-based style. But we could see them maybe try to change the damage rate and also the kind of moves you can do as well.
Yeah, you and I have been talking about how a lot of people in general, not even just us, like the turn-based style. I felt like that's what made Paper Mario. And originally, Paper Mario was actually supposed to be Mario RPG 2. So originally, it was supposed to be a sequel to the famous Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo, and that was turn-based. So I felt like it just felt natural to shift over, while in Paper style, still turn-based with new moves. Definitely agree about changing the damage rate. Paper Mario, while it's RPG, it doesn't feel as fully fleshed RPG. Again, with Mario RPG from the Super Nintendo, it would be awesome to go back to the same damage rate back in that game, where it's the ratio is so much higher. It's not 2 damage for jumping. It's I don't know, 20, and then you actually see yourself leveling up and seeing the number difference. So
yeah, and probably the most important for me is just getting away from the sticker or the card aspect. It just felt really limited, and it was just way too gimmicky for me, because it only focused on wow, this is actually we're trying to make it as paper as possible by introducing a scissor. Like I'd rather just have like an ability of Mario throwing fire or something instead of them adding these weird gimmicks into the battle system.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a scavenger hunt. You have to find these cards or stickers, whatever, in the newer games just so you can jump. I find that very stupid. And what I've seen through like some research, Sticker Star and Color Splash, the fact that those moves, as mentioned before, like fans and scissors, they can literally just break the game, where you could just go into a boss fight and just kill them with stuff like that. And I felt like that's, I don't know, it
doesn't really require skill.
It doesn't require skill.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem I had with Color Splash, and I guess we'll mention it, Sticker Star, is that it was kind of just like Breath of the Wild in the sense that, yeah, like it had like some of the characters from the Paper Mario universe, and you are playing as Paper Mario, but it's so much different than like the core of the original games. Like if it wasn't called Paper Mario, you could literally just insert any other character into it and just have the same style, and it would probably be more liked, because like we expect so much more for the Paper Mario games, and it kind of just like took advantage of the name.
Right. Forgot to also mention the side quests and side stories. I feel like that's also a great thing to include as part of the gameplay, like being able to interact with like other characters.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we could kind of ties into the open world aspect of it, where it's not as linear. Like there's more stuff you could do that would be kind of more like a true RPG, and you would be able to level up and do more damage and stuff based off of like the side quests you do, instead of just whether or not you find the fan and some overpowered sticker.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get rewards for doing that. So, but as I mentioned before, with side stories comes in with our next topic, the characters. Characters literally are awesome to have in video games, and Paper Mario is no doubt a very great game to include new characters. And so here is the discussion. Partners. Partners have always been like a great thing to discuss about in just Paper Mario in general, especially the first two games where they actually had sidekicks and they were all kind of unique with different like personalities. But we were also discussing, could we also potentially include existing Mario characters already? Could it potentially be a Paper Mario game where we can also use like Luigi, Peach, Wario, or Bowser, just like in Super Paper Mario, we play those Luigi, Peach, and Bowser as well. I wonder if they could like maybe switch off to being whoever's the captain, or having a mixture just like in Mario RPG where there's Mallow and Geno as well as Peach and Bowser. So I just want unique characters. What do you want, Brian?
I kind of want that as well. I'd like them to go back to either characters such as in Super Paper Mario where they had different abilities, or partners like in Paper Mario 1000-Year Door. They could even do a mixture or like a synergy thing where based off of whoever main character you are, and then like the specific partner you're with, it does different abilities versus if you had just stayed as Mario the whole time.
Oh, that would be great to have like a combination where you have to figure out what character goes well with a partner. Ooh, yeah. That would be actually a pretty good thing to consider. That would be awesome. I don't know how, again, it depends on the story and plot and how the game actually plays. It worked well with Super Paper Mario because it was platform, so it made sense that Bowser could breathe fire, Peach could hover, you know what I mean? So I'm just wondering to see if they could include existing Mario characters already, to see how important they could be in the story or just in general the game itself. So I'm wondering what they could do, but in general, yeah. For sure, mixing it up, I feel like that could be a great gimmick they could include. So it's a kind of like a nice middle ground where you have partners that people want, and also about having existing characters within the game playable. So in addition to just characters, like playable characters, we also want unique looking ones, such as like NPCs and enemies. And like, Brian, name like a unique character you liked from the series.
I thought Bobby was really interesting. Like, I couldn't believe how sad the story was, and you bonded with them. And then like Vivian, like you thought she was bad at first, and then she ended up being a really good character. He was really fun to use.
Right, so. And that's just two characters, and these two characters came from 1000-Year Door. So it goes to show, like, I'm not trying to say 1000-Year Door is the best one, but it definitely had a lot of things that these newer ones didn't have, and I feel like that's also part of the reason why they fell off. They just basically didn't include these wonderful characters that made the story, that made you feel attachment towards.
Yeah. And just the story with Count Bleck and Tempia, like that is such a good story compared to just Bowser stole Peach.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like the next topic actually we want to say. The last one, story, is the basically something that we need to have. It creates substance. It creates, like, I guess, this feeling of surprise or just in general just emotion. To say what you were saying before about Bleck and Tippy, that was amazing. That's something I really liked about Super Paper Mario. If they can include a very nice base story or base structure like Super Paper Mario, but also include the character development and you know, the side stories of Thousand Year Door, like I personally like Chapter 6 with the train thing where it's like a mystery investigative thing, and you have these culmination of characters coming together, figuring out like who's the person that did this or whatever. Like, I feel like having these little side stories that help create the main plot is the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. And also, one of the things I actually kind of enjoyed about Color Splash is that it had a lot of humorous moments. So I think they could also have that element as well in the story, just have like tons of puns. There's so many funny scenarios in that. It wasn't as serious as Thousand Year Door or Super Paper Mario, but it definitely had a kind of a charm of its own.
Yeah, so I feel like including stuff like that would be great. Not like Sticker Star, because I remember with the Let's Play, there was so many paper puns. I don't want that. Just witty sayings. Like, that's also something that made Paper Mario great. The witty sayings, side stories, I feel like they just work together. Super Paper Mario lacked side stories. I felt like it was just the same plot that you were going towards, and you didn't know really about it until the end of it, and you were just kind of platforming your way chapter to chapter. And that goes to the idea of chapters in general. I wonder if they're going to keep the chapter based thing. That's probably something me and Brian may want, but at the same time we also want to see, like, what's the premise? Like, do we want to collect things again?
I think that's not something that they have to have in order for me to be happy, but I feel like that's something that the majority of people would be happy if they returned to that instead of going into something different.
I could definitely see, like, and to me, it's like I would like to see collecting something in, but I also want to see something different. Just like in Final Fantasy, the 7 remake that I'm playing, there's not, like, you don't really collect much in that game, but it's like kind of you progressing through the story. So I feel like it also just depends what kind of story, but right now I'm torn as well.
What if they made it kind of like, you're not collecting like an inanimate object like a crystal star or like a star spirit, but you're collecting a character for each chapter, and you can't progress to the next chapter until you have this character because they're needed for like a final boss or something.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. I don't know how we could put that in paper or just like draw it out, but something like that where it's not too linear or you got to collect something to specifically progress. But ultimately, I feel like we should like end off with just saying, do whatever works. Like, if as people say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
In this case, I feel like that works well, that saying, just because it worked well, the chapter basis. But I do, in my heart, I feel like they could do something different or just change it up a little bit. But in general, it just needs substance. It needs to have a great story, culminate the side stories in Thousand Year Door, and then have something really nice, beautifully written, just like in Super Paper Mario.
Yeah, and just to go off of that, I think you could take away something from each game that they did well, aside from Sticker Star. Don't even think about that game. Just scrap it. 64 and Thousand Year Door were probably the best for gameplay, so you kind of do something similar to that. Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario both had great stories. Super Paper Mario probably had the best story overall, but Thousand Year Door just had so much substance, as you said before. And then just for the design, you want to kind of make it more like the modern theme that was in Color Splash, but you could also have 3D and 2D, like we said earlier, which is kind of Super Paper Mario, but it's not exactly that.
For sure. And I just want to say, guys, that what makes a good Paper Mario game to us, revitalize the series, use its original form to build it from the ground up, take what worked best in all the series, culminate them into the next one to create the ultimate Paper Mario game. Well, guys, that's our video and take on Paper Mario Switch, whatever it's going to be called. Hopefully it comes out in 2020. We're really excited to see what Nintendo comes out for Paper Mario 5. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to drop a like. And if you want to see Brian in more videos, let us know down below. Until then, I've been Kirk.
And I've been Brian, and thank you for listening to us.
See you guys next time. Peace.